You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
Welcome on into McGuire Mondays on Toronto Sports Rush for the Bet Rivers Network. Pierre McGuire, of course, and I am Julie Stewart-Binks. We are reunited after quite a long time away. And ever since, Pierre, I haven't talked to you, the Leafs have been on a heater. And causation, correlation, we don't know. But what we do know is things that are working out for them. And I was listening to you on the last episode with Kyle and Dan, and you said that if they beat Vancouver, which they did, it sets up real well for this road trip that they have coming up. Yep. What are your thoughts on where the Leafs are right now, especially after what you saw against Vancouver?
Clearly defined roles are becoming really apparent, which is a good thing for the Leafs. Getting William Nylander back was huge, Julie, and it's great to visit with you again, obviously. But having Bobby McMann, Scott Laughton, and Stevie Lorentz as that quote-unquote identity line, if you go back to last spring when the general manager, Brad Treliving, said, we want to change our identity, we want to change our DNA, that's part of what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. They knew that Laughton underachieved last year when they got him from Philadelphia. They were expecting more out of Lorentz. That's why they gave him a contract extension. And I think Bobby McMann, while everybody's going to say, well, that's a fourth line, it's not. It's an identity line. Bobby McMahon's a really good player, especially playing deeper in your lineup. So that's just part of it. They went out and got Matias Maccelli. I use him as an example. I was really excited. I was one of the positive people about him. And it was a bad start for him. And I'm like, oh boy, did I lose what I used to be able to do? And now all of a sudden I'm starting to see this guy's for real and he's a good player. And you see the chemistry he has with Tavares and obviously Nylander just coming back. There was some magic there the other night on the first goal in particular. But I think the Leafs are setting up well. And this is the interesting part of this road trip. There's only one back-to-back. It's tonight and tomorrow. It's in Colorado and Utah, and then everything else is a day in between. So you go into Vegas, you get rest. You go into Winnipeg, you get rest. You come home to Minnesota, you get rest. You're home against Detroit, you get rest. You're home against Vegas again on the 23rd, you get rest. This is the only back-to-back they have tonight and tomorrow for the rest of January. It's the only one.
Well, that helps, certainly, when you're looking at guys, maybe some of them coming back from injuries, some of them being able to continue to flourish as they've come back. And so let's get into that road trip. They start off with the Colorado Avalanche, who are very good at home and are also very good overall. A team like Toronto that has done well recently, going into a barn like that, what do you want to see from them to know that what they have cultivated recently is real?
Start on time. What Colorado does is they pulverize teams in the first 7 to 12 minutes of a period. And they really do. They're good at it. It's at altitude. There's a little adjustment for everybody. Just cardiovascular wise, people don't realize till they get there and it's 6,000 feet above sea level. As you know, I know you've been there. It's different. It's really different. So that's part of it. Start on time. Don't fall behind by multiple goals early. And more than anything, stay out of the penalty box. The power play there gets free points all the time because we're just so darn good on the power play. And make sure, no matter what, you have some sort, whether Austin Matthews is on the ice or Nicholas Waugh is on the ice, you got to have a presence on Nathan MacKinnon. Doesn't mean you have to kill him. Doesn't mean you have to crush him. You have to have a presence on him. And if you don't, you're not going to beat them. He's as good a player as there is in the league. He's as good as, if you want to say Connor McDavid's the best player in the league, I'm going to come back and counter and say Nathan MacKinnon might be better than him. Because Nathan MacKinnon is a complete 200-foot player. I don't know if Connor McDavid plays that well defensively. MacKinnon does. So there's a difference. So that's the biggest thing. But I want to give you a little, because numbers matter for a lot of our viewers, especially the younger ones. So I'll give you these numbers that will blow you away. Colorado is plus 80 goal differential-wise. It's what I look at every morning. I know I lead a boring life. They are plus 80.
It's amazing.
On goal
plus
differential.
80.
The second best team in the National Hockey League is Tampa at plus 39. The team you work for, plus 30. Think about that for 1 second.
Massive.
It's a 41-goal spread. It's not even...
It's like Macklin Celebrini versus the rest of the San Jose Sharks, really.
That's a good one. So then I'll show you the rest of the goal differentials for the Leafs on this trip. That's why I'm so optimistic. Colorado's plus 80. If you go in there and steal a game, you're looking good. Then you go into Utah, they're plus 9. Then you go into Vegas, they're plus 8. Then you go into Winnipeg, they're minus 8. Then you have Minnesota at home, they're plus 21. They're pretty good. Then you have Detroit. They're +3, but they're playing well. Then you have Vegas again. They're +8. So for the Leafs, if you get some steam going here, you got a chance to really do some damage. And right now, realistically, they see that they can be a real good playoff team, I think, in Toronto. So it's exciting.
Well, hold your horses right now. Let's just remember that the East, there's a lot of parity going on right now. So you could one day, you're at the bottom and one day you're at the top because of how things are adjusting. But the way you play, it's the process. It's not necessarily the outcome.
That's a good point. What I'd say is Detroit, of all the Eastern teams right now, Detroit and Tampa are playing above everybody else. Detroit, I watched their 4-0 win over Montreal on Saturday night. They were fast. They really took away Suzuki and Caulfield as a unit. They really were hard on those guys. They've got a defense pairing now of Simon Edvinsson and Moritz Seider. That's going to be a 10 to 12-year pairing. Those guys manhandle people. Like Detroit is setting up, Julie, to be really good for a long time. And, your team in Tampa, a lot of people don't realize what John Cooper's done there with their group. The overachieving that's gone on there is to be saluted. It's to be commended. They've done a fantastic job in terms of leadership from the players, Cooper selling a game plan, and Cooper, more than anything else, managing the assets that's been given to him by Julien Brisebois.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of people are saying he's kind of been out of the purview of other people for the Jack Adams because he always has maybe had really good teams, but he's had to do it this year without Victor Hedman for long stretches, without Ryan McDonough, Emil Lilleberg, Scott Sabrin, a lot of different guys that have been in and out. Atlanta Point was injured before. Hagel was injured before. Kucherov was injured. So they're all back and they're doing well and figuring out their defensive scheme. So on that point, defense, just in particular with Toronto, how do you then contain Nathan MacKinnon?
You take away time and space. You win a lot of faceoffs. Force him to forecheck rather than dominate the puck. You can say Connor McDavid's the best player. I'll say, as we talked about before, the difference between McDavid and McKinnon's the best power player in the league. He can dominate you physically. So force him to have to forecheck you rather than attack you with the puck on his stick. Because when he's attacking with the puck on his stick, it's a bad combo for you. It's because it's not just that he can overwhelm you. He makes the players around him better. And that's where it becomes a problem. So I think it's really important to win faceoffs. Try to make sure early in the game he knows it's going to be a rough ride. I know that sounds draconian. I know it sounds mean, but it's pro hockey. It's part of it. Doesn't mean you got to goon him up and cheap shot him. You got to make sure he knows he's in for a long night tonight.
Right. Okay. So let's look back in goal. There's sort of reports, we're not necessarily sure yet, but that Anthony Stolarz may travel with the team. He, of course, needs to practice, I'll get up to speed. But what have you thought about the tandem with Dennis Hildeby and Joseph Woll recently?
Fantastic. I'm so proud of Hildeby in particular. A lot of people thought, doom and gloom when Stolarz went down, this is going to be bad. I had seen Hildeby play over in Europe, and I'd seen him play in the American Hockey League, and I was like, I'm encouraged, actually. He's I don't think people realize how big he is. He's a very large human. He's calm, cool, and collected, which I like in goalies. It reminds me a lot of Jacob Fowler in Montreal. Young kid who's getting a chance as a 21-year-old playing in Montreal. So I like that part of it. And I think Joe Woll the other night, even though they win 5-0, there were some timely saves by Joe. Vancouver had a little bit of a push, and I thought Joe handled it well. So I think the combination is actually really good, Julie.
Okay. That is great to hear because that's something that they definitely need. Brandon Carlo coming back. He played his third steady game after 23-game absence.
Way to go. Young lady, you nailed it. So the right side of their defense has been so tough. They haven't had Tana for good portions of the year. That makes a big difference. So you get Brandon back, and now everybody kind of, again, it's a lot like the forwards. They're slotting in better. So rather than Stetcher playing 22 to 26 minutes, now he's down to about 16 to 18 minutes. And Troy has been one of the best waiver wire pickups we've had in the last couple of years in terms of how he influences the game. Just watch a stretch pass that he had the other day to Max Domi. Just a pass, Domi goes in and scores. So now he's playing in the third pairing. He's playing with Simon Benoit. He's not playing against the better players, which is perfect. At 31, that's perfect for him as an undersized guy. So that's just getting Carlo back changes a lot of stuff in a good way. And I know he's not a loud player, and I know he doesn't crush people, but he's an effective player. He really is.
Right. The Brandon Carlo that came to the Leafs in the first place is the kind of guy you want to see him get back into that same sort of, playing style. Okay, so a lot of Leafs fans will be looking ahead to the game against Vegas. Knowing what you've seen in the past, teams that you've coached, teams that you've watched, when you're visiting a former player that was a big part of your team, what kind of maybe impact does that have on the room of the visiting team, aka the Leafs?
I think one of the things that's really important is you bring your leaders in. You don't, as a coach, you don't address the entire team because it can become a bit of a circus. There's already enough drama. I think you bring some of your leaders in and say, look, Mitchie was a big part of this team. We like him a lot. He did a lot of good things here, but he's on the other side now and we need points. So let's get the drama out of this thing early and let's get the plan. And hopefully when you bring your leaders in and you mention that to them, when they go to, as a group, whether they go have dinner or they go to a casino or whatever they do, whatever, as a group, hopefully the word gets around, look, Mitch was part of us. He's on the other team now. We're moving forward. And Nicky Roy should be saying, you know what? I want to prove the people in Vegas wrong for trading me out of here. So there's a lot that goes back and forth, if that makes sense. When I was in Pittsburgh, we had really good teams. Really good teams. Scotty Bowman and Bob Johnson were so good at that. I was a neophyte coach. I was just a young guy and learning on the job. They were so good at making sure whenever we went into big emotional moments like this, they could quell the drama just by bringing the leaders in. And the leaders took care of it, whether it was Mario Lemieux, Brian Trottier, or Paul Coffey, Ulfie Samuelson. The leaders took care of that stuff. And we didn't have to really worry about it, but it's how it was presented by the coach that really made a difference.
Okay, so with the leaders in particular, for guys like Austin Matthews, maybe not like Nyes, Nylander, all of them have been scoring. The Stars have been scoring. How do they continue that kind of streak and that kind of stretch when they are going on the road? They're facing all these various different teams during this stretch.
I think one of the things, we talked about it off the top. I love the question too, by the way, because people always ask that, why is it so much harder to go on the road? Because of last change, because usually even though the officials don't cheat, usually when they drop the puck, they always drop it on the side of the home team, not the visiting team. It's just human nature. It happens. I watch so many games. It doesn't matter whether it's college hockey or major junior or East Coast League or American League or SHL in Sweden. It's always the same. And I marvel. I watch. I'm like, I wonder why that team is so good on faceoffs at home, but they stink on the road. Well, there's a reason why. So I think what's happened for Toronto, they finally got their slotting right because everybody's healthy. Pretty much everybody's healthy. Matthews, Tavares, Roy, and now Lawton. And Lawton has become, you look at Lawton the other night, he wins almost 73% of his faceoffs. You look at Austin Matthews, was over 70%. So that's slotting. That puck possession we talked about, you said, how do you take away Nathan MacKinnon? How do you do it? You win faceoffs. You win faceoffs. So they're not winning, I'm telling you right now, they're not winning 70%. They're not. Just trust me, they won't. But if they can be over 55%,
that would be amazing.
Group, it'd be unbelievable, and that gives you a better chance to win. And just my reference point on this is I'll never forget it as long as I live, Julie. We lose game one in the 1991 Stanley Cup final. You were just a young lady growing up in Toronto. We lose game one. Think about it. We lose it, and pretty bad. It's like they had Neil Broughton, they had Mark Bureau, they had Dave Gagne, and Neil Broughton. Their center ice play was amazing, Minnesota. And Bob Johnson at the end of the game goes, God darn it. He never swore. He goes, God darn it, Pierre. Make a tape. There were like 80 faceoffs in game one because there was a lot of nerves both ways. So I make this tape, 80 faceoffs. And he says, bring all the centermen in. Create a faceoff protocol. That's how Badger was. So I had in the room Mario Lemieux, Ronnie Francis, Brian Trottier, Yuri Herdina, Kenny Priestley, and Randy Gillen. I had all these guys. Those were our centermen. And we created this, I don't know, probably like a 7 to 10 point profile of how we were going to win faceoffs. We never lost faceoffs the rest of the series. We won game 6, 8-0 in Minnesota. We dominated faceoffs the rest of it. But it's because one guy, Bob Johnson, had the foresight to say, we got to stabilize this part of the game before anybody else or anything else. And we did. That's how we won.
Because winning the faceoffs, then you have the possession, and possession is the biggest part.
And with our team too, we were such a, like you look at the players we had: Kevin Stevens and Mark Recchi and Joey Mullen and Jaromir Jagr and Troy Loney. I can go down the line. It's a murderer's row. You could never have that team in the NHL today because you would be breaking the cap.
Right.
You'd be way over the cap. You couldn't put them together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of murderers row, I guess, as a segue into, as we know, we got to wrap up soon, is the idea that they have this road trip. Points wise, what would be a success? Playing wise, what would be a success?
So it's a 4-game trip, possibility of 8 points. I'm going to say I'd love to see 5 points. 5 points out of it. I think if they do 5 points out of the 8, I think they come home in a solid playoff spot, because I do think there's going to be some separation now, because injuries have really become a problem around because of the schedule. The condensed schedule's just murder for all these teams and all these players. So I think if they got 5 out of 8, it'd be substantial. And then you're setting up for an amazing week with Minnesota and then Detroit and then Vegas again for the second time in less than 10 days. So I think that would be great.
And to your point on that with the schedule, we spoke with Julian Breezeball this week, with Tampa's Pierre alluded to. Yep. He said after the Olympic break, it gets worse.
Oh,
way worse.
That's what people don't understand. And I get it. I love the fact that people are gunned up about the Olympics. Every moment of my adult life has been in the National Hockey League, pretty much. And And
got my Olympic rings on. I just show Pierre.
I'm having the privilege of working my 8th Olympics this year for NBC. I'm just so grateful. But I can just tell you right now, people don't realize how much the NHL lost when they stopped going to the Olympics after 2014. But, and this is the big but, there is a toll to pay when you do go to the Olympics. What I'm disappointed in the league in this year, they should have started this season in September. And I know, I'm going to tell the fans, if they haven't heard it, I'm going to tell them why the league didn't. They're intimidated by the NFL, which they should be. They're intimidated by college football, especially in certain markets, like in the South in particular. It's unbelievable. I live here full time now, and I'm a huge football guy, played in college and everything, but I've never seen anything like never, ever. It's crazy. And then the third thing is, but nobody wants to talk about, but I know the NHL is concerned. If you start in September, Friday nights and Saturdays are death for hockey in September because of high school football in California, in Texas, in Florida, in New Jersey, in New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. You're wiped out, and that's why they didn't do it. And they got to wrap their head around that at some point and say, you know what, in Olympic years, we got to do it. Because we're killing our players. It's not the depth players that are getting murdered in this. It's the star players that are getting murdered in this.
Right. And we hate seeing it. It seems like every day there's a new star player that's out for whatever amount of time. So we hope going forward that that's not the case, but condensed schedule, more games, more playing time, more action, more injuries, just the luck of the draw. Okay, Pierre, this has been wonderful. It's been way too long. Love hearing your insight and analysis. Can't wait to do it again. We'll have to see what happens with the Leafs this week. Strap in, folks. It should be an exciting time. This has been McGuire Mondays for the Bet Rivers Network. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.